first off, no matter what the chimps do, nothing forces us to behave as they do because we're not chimps, we're people. Secondly, whatever predispositions we may have towards sexism, which is essentially what your question was about, we have other counterbalancing predispositions, compassion and altruism, and self-interest. And one of the main messages that we took away from the study that led to the writing of Shadows is this: that we humans have contrary propensities. Yes, we have propensities towards sexism and racism and xenophobia and dominance hierarchies and all that. But we also have propensities towards problem solving and compassion and love of children and all the rest of that. And these conflicting propensities, the working out of those propensities, is what the human condition is about, and also is the key challenge of statecraft, to evoke the propensities that are appropriate for our circumstances and to discourage the propensities that aren't. And that's why it's useful to know what the propensities in us are by studying our relatives.
That's a little mechanistic?
Well, what do you mean?
Well, I mean that well-trained animals, or animals, will do what they do routinely through instinct. But there is something separating beyond...
Oh, you've slipped back to your scholastic training.
Well, there is something separating that permits...
What is it? What is it?
Well, I think it's the reach of a man and a woman.
What does that reach mean?
I think that there is so much determinism and so much instinct in the way animals behave, even developed animals, chimps, that they're nowhere near the power of true ratiocination that man can do. But let me move on. I want to ask you something.
I completely disagree.
You do?
Yeah.
Me too.
I think they're smart, and you underestimate how smart they are, and you underestimate how instinctive we are.
Jurassic Park. What did you see in that film?
Great special effects.
What about genetic coding in that type of thinking or play out?
Well, that's a message as old as Frankenstein, which is over 100 years old, which is that that scientists make these Faustian bargains. I guess this goes back before Frankenstein to Faust. That scientists who lack humility do these things without really thinking out the consequences, and it's a form of arrogance in itself to think that you can, tear at the fabric of nature, take a thread out here and there without unraveling the whole thing, without slashing away at the whole fabric. And so you shouldn't do that. But I'd like to see a movie in which the values of science and the methods of science, which I think are kind of brilliant error-correcting machinery, are shown to be something that should be more a part of our life, not less a part of our life.
Are you engaging yourselves in the ethical dimensions and the other dimensions of human genomes, the $3 billion project, and boutique babies, so that you can, by a combination of genes, assemble a human person exactly as you would.
See, that's exactly the circumstance Annie was just talking about. That's immensely arrogant and dangerous, because we're not smart enough. We don't know enough, nowhere near, to do that without all sorts of ghastly, unanticipated consequences.
We're talking about generating a child that will grow up to be 6'2", blonde hair, blue eyes, IQ of 150. Leadership qualities, disease-free.
Yeah, that's right.
But may I say that we have been doing this kind of stuff for as long as we've been human. Female infanticide, which is so prevalent even today in this world that there are 100 million females missing out of the world population, is a form of that. It's just a more primitive, ham-handed form of this same kind of nonsense.
Well, do you disapprove of the research?
No, I think the Human Genome Project has all sorts of opportunities to help cure and circumvent genetic disease. It will save a huge amount of tragedy. But the idea of boutique babies, first of all, it's technically much further away. But however far away
but it's there.
However far away it is, that seems to me immensely foolish. That's exactly in the tradition of the Faustian bargain and Frankenstein and all of that. That's outsmarting ourselves.
You visited Vice President Al Gore in early October, and you talked to him about religious groups who are involved in the National Religious Partnership for the Environment. What is it?
It's a new alliance between leaders of the major or the most populous religious faiths in the country and scientists on behalf of the environment, kind of new coalition in which we say we don't have to agree on how creation came to be in order to want to preserve it.
Now, so, you're on the board of directors. Does that say anything about your theology or your religious belief?
No, I'm an independent in religion as in politics.
Is the jury out with you?
I am a searcher, but I have high standards of evidence.
How about you, Ann?
This is my idea of what the highest form of piety is, and that is, in a universe as vast as ours, as ancient as ours, with beings as young and foolish and ignorant as we are, to say that we know what God is or how this universe came to be is a form of arrogance which I don't subscribe to.
Carl Sagan and Ann Dryan, thanks so much.